Hopsalot was a very happy rabbit. He had soft, fluffy fur as white as snow. His nose twitched with joy. His eyes sparkled like morning dew. Hopsalot lived in a cozy burrow under an old oak tree. The burrow was warm and snug. It smelled of fresh clover and sunshine. Hopsalot loved his home. Every day, Hopsalot hopped through the meadow. He greeted his friends with a happy thump of his foot. He loved to play hide-and-seek with the butterflies. One evening, the sun began to set. The sky was painted with hues of pink and orange, casting a warm glow over the meadow. It was a perfect evening for an adventure. The sky turned a beautiful shade of pink and orange, as if an artist had brushed the colors across the horizon. The air was cool and crisp, filled with the promise of a new journey. It was time for Hopsalot to go home, but he wanted to explore just a little bit more. The evening light made everything look magical, and he couldn't resist the call of the unknown. He hopped along a winding path, his little feet barely making a sound on the soft earth. The path twisted and turned, leading him deeper into the heart of the meadow. The air smelled sweet with honeysuckle, their delicate flowers blooming in the evening light. Each breath he took was filled with the fragrant scent, making his journey even more delightful. Hopsalot's whiskers twitched with curiosity. He had never ventured this far before, and every new sight and sound filled him with excitement. Where would this path lead him? He paused for a moment at a crossroads, pondering which direction to take. The possibilities seemed endless. He hopped and hopped, further than he had ever been before. The forest around him grew denser, the trees standing tall like silent guardians of the night. The trees grew taller, their leaves forming a canopy above him. The forest was alive with the sounds of evening, the rustling of leaves, and the distant call of an owl. The sunlight filtering through the leaves created dancing patterns of light and shadow. It was as if the forest itself was welcoming him, inviting him to discover its secrets. Hopsalot wasn't alone. He saw a family of deer grazing peacefully. He saw a wise old owl perched on a branch. He even saw a mischievous squirrel gathering nuts. He said hello to everyone he met. The animals smiled at him with kindness. They were all enjoying the beautiful evening. Hopsalot felt a little bit braver now. He knew that even though he was exploring a new place, he was surrounded by friends. The forest felt warm and welcoming. As he hopped along, Hopsalot saw a patch of bright red berries. They looked so juicy and delicious. He had never seen berries like these before. He carefully took a tiny nibble. The berry was sweet and tangy, the tastiest thing he had ever eaten. Hopsalot happily munched on a few more, savoring the delicious treat. His tummy felt full and content. Finding such yummy berries made him even happier. Hopsalot understood that happiness could be found in the simplest things. Section 5. A Little Lost. Hopsalot realized it was getting late. The sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, slowly giving way to the deep blues of twilight. He had been so engrossed in his adventures that he hadn't noticed the time slipping away. The sun had set, and the first stars were appearing in the sky. They twinkled like tiny diamonds scattered across a velvet blanket. The forest, which had seemed so friendly and inviting during the day, now took on a more mysterious and eerie feel. He decided it was time to go home. He thought about the warm, cozy burrow waiting for him, where his family would be gathered, sharing stories of their day. The thought of home filled him with a sense of urgency, but when he turned around, he realized he didn't recognize the path. Every tree and bush looked the same in the dim light, and the familiar landmarks he had used to navigate were now hidden in the shadows. He felt a little bit lost. The forest, which had been his playground, now seemed like a maze. The rustling of leaves and the distant hoots of owls added to his growing sense of unease. The forest seemed darker now, and the shadows from the trees looked like long fingers. They stretched out towards him, making him feel even more disoriented. The once familiar path was now a labyrinth of darkness and shadows. Hopsalot took a deep breath and reminded himself not to be scared. He had been in the forest many times before and knew that panicking would only make things worse. He needed to stay calm and think clearly. He remembered the wise old owl he had met earlier. The owl had a reputation for being the wisest creature in the forest, always knowing the right thing to do in any situation. The owl had been perched high up in a tree, watching over everything. Its keen eyes missed nothing, and it had a way of making even the most daunting problems seem manageable. Maybe the owl could help him find his way back home. With renewed hope, Hopsalot decided to seek out the wise old owl, believing that with its guidance, he would soon be back in the safety and comfort of his burrow. Hopsalot hopped through the trees looking for the owl. He spotted the owl perched on a low branch, its eyes glowing softly in the moonlight. Hopsalot explained that he was lost. The owl hooted softly and spread its wings. "Follow me, little one," the owl hooted gently and flew towards a familiar path. Hopsalot followed closely behind. Soon, Hopsalot recognized the path. He thanked the owl for its help and waved goodbye. He felt relieved and happy to be heading back to his cozy burrow. Hopsalot hopped as fast as he could, his white tail bobbing. The meadow was vast and filled with the scent of fresh grass and blooming flowers. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the landscape, making everything look magical. Hopsalot loved these evening adventures, but he knew it was time to head home. He finally reached his burrow under the old oak tree. The tree stood tall and majestic, its branches spreading out like protective arms. The burrow was a cozy little haven, hidden away from the world. Hopsalot felt a sense of relief as he approached it, knowing he was safe. He snuggled into his bed of soft leaves and grass. The leaves were crisp and the grass was fragrant, creating a perfect nest for a tired rabbit. He wriggled around a bit, making sure everything was just right. The comfort of his bed made him feel drowsy almost immediately. He felt safe and warm in his little home. The burrow was his sanctuary, a place where he could relax and forget about the day's adventures. The walls of the burrow were lined with soft moss, adding to the coziness. Hopsalot loved the feeling of being surrounded by nature. He peeked out of his burrow and looked up at the night sky. The sky was a deep shade of blue, dotted with countless stars. Each star seemed to twinkle just for him, creating a mesmerizing display. Hopsalot often wondered about the stars and what lay beyond them. The stars twinkled like tiny diamonds, filling him with a sense of peace. The night was calm, with a gentle breeze rustling the leaves. The tranquility of the moment made Hopsalot feel connected to the universe. He took a deep breath, savoring the cool night air. The adventure had been fun, but there was no place like home. Hopsalot thought about all the places he had explored and the things he had seen, but nothing compared to the comfort of his burrow. Home was where he felt truly at peace. Hopsalot yawned a big yawn, his eyelids feeling heavy. The day's excitement had worn him out, and he could barely keep his eyes open. He stretched his little legs and settled deeper into his nest, feeling the warmth of his bed envelop him. He was ready for a good night's sleep. As he closed his eyes, he felt a wave of contentment wash over him. The stars outside continued to twinkle as if watching over him. Hopsalot drifted off to sleep, dreaming of new adventures and the beauty of the night sky. Hopsalot closed his eyes and dreamt of sweet berries and friendly forest animals. He dreamt of the kind owl and the twinkling stars. He dreamt of everything that made him happy. His breath became slow and steady. He felt safe and loved in his cozy burrow. He knew that no matter where he explored, he could always find his way back home. The forest was quiet, the only sound the gentle breeze rustling the leaves. Hopsalot's adventure was over, but his happiness continued, carried on the wings of dreams. Hopsalot's adventure taught him that happiness can be found everywhere. It was in the warmth of his burrow, in the sweetness of the berries, and in the kindness of the animals he met. Most importantly, happiness was in his heart. It was a feeling he carried with him wherever he went, and that made Hopsalot the happiest rabbit of all.